Welcome to Queener Laxin Poetic. I'm your host, Bryce Queener. We're going to talk all things lax on this show with some of the greatest personalities in the sport. Be sure to check out our sponsor, QueenerLax.com, for swag, camps, and clinics. Got questions? Want to hear something? Get in our DMs at Queener Lax. Hey, thanks for listening. And remember, ABC, always be cradling. Hey fans, today on episode 4, we're really lucky to be joined by two phenomenal coaches. We'll start with the man's tweet who led us here. Corey Bulken, the Baldwinsville High School product, went on to star at Lemoyne College for the Dolphins, earning All-American and leading his team to 2 national championship game appearances. For his efforts, the MLL took notice. Corey went on to play professionally for Charlotte in New York. The current Hartford Hawks offensive coordinator, Corey's had coaching stops at the University of Virginia, Ohio State, where they reached the national championship game, and Washington College. Also joining us today is Marty Ward, the Corcoran High School Hall of Famer. Marty went on to star at Limestone College, where he was an All-American and helped his team reach the national championship game twice as well. In 2006, 2010, and 2014, Marty was a member of the Iroquois national team. As a goalie, Marty helped the team win the bronze medal in 2014. As the current head coach at Florida Southern College, Marty has built them into a perennial powerhouse in the Deep South Conference. A member of the Cherokee Nation, Marty is the only Native American head coach in the NCAA men's lacrosse at any level. Hey guys, follow both on social media. Thank them for joining the show. They're a blast. They're great. If I was an offensive player, I'd want to play for both these guys. Hope you enjoy. Okay, cool. Okay, well, hey guys, welcome to the show. I really appreciate you being on. We got Corey Bulken from Hartford University and Marty Ward from Florida Southern. A lot of Upstate, a lot of lax knowledge being dropped here today. We're excited. What brought us all together yesterday, the tweet heard around the world. I'm just going to read it to you guys. If you don't follow Corey on Twitter, you should. It's accompanied with a video of Corey throwing cones in what I assume is the Hartford locker room. It says, "Excited for my new individual training service where I utilize all the cones I can get a hold of to emphasize staring at your feet to settle for a low-angle alley shot. Then I will tell you good rep. Stay tuned for our next lesson on fadeaway finishing, how to hang your stick." It's got 13,000 plus views. Probably have a bunch more. It started us tweeting at each other yesterday, and I'm still laughing. Oh, sorry. At the end, Corey says, "That'll work," as the cones are everywhere in the locker room, and I still chuckle at that. And I guess, Corey, just to me, there's a lot of truth in your statement. There's some good to the cones. We'll get into that. But, Corey, just kind of talk us through your tweet. Are you starting this service, or is this kind of a little
No, I'm not. No, it's just, I'm in a couple of text groups, like I'm sure you guys all are, with other coaches, and you get sent these videos. And I just seen so many of these like young kids staring at their feet doing these cone drills. And I'm like, man, I've never seen a Division I lacrosse player or any lacrosse player get by their defenseman by bunny hopping over a hurdle. So it's just gotten to a point where I think, there just needs to be a little reset of like what's actually effective. It's great that kids are out there, have a stick in their hands, but kids need to know that that's not really what a lot of coaches would think, it takes to get better.
Sure. Marty, what do you think about these drills and Corey's tweet? I don't know. Did you see Corey's tweet first? Or did you see my response to it saying it's?
I saw Corey's tweet. I mean, I've been thinking this for probably 2 years now, watching how this has progressed with a lot of the coaches out there utilizing cone drills, which are great. There's nothing wrong with cone drills. I don't think we're anti-cone drill coaches here. But it's almost like you're killing time at some point and just making things up. And I think Corey's tweet hit the nail on the head. I mean, sometimes there's too many variations of something that's really meat and potatoes, which is, really technique and being able to shoot on the run and being able to hit your spots. And that's something that I think resonated. And when I saw that tweet, I had to laugh and I had to jump in because it's just been something that's been cooking. And my assistant was like, "What do you always say?" I said, "Yeah, cones don't hit back." Like, as many cone drills as you want, but when there's somebody in front of you, it takes you getting a step on a guy and getting your hands free and actually being able to make a decision. So Just like Corey just said, like, that's, player development is key.
Yeah, because I loved it when it first started. You mentioned 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And like all of us, especially when we're coaching year round, like to find anything, Brody Murray always says variety is the spice of life. So finding something different to do is like, yeah, let me try that. And I do and I think Corey's point and what makes me laugh is it's like 40 cones in the Twitter video. And that's and I'm a huge muscle memory guy. So I want my kids split dodging all the time. Like every drill we do, I try to do but one split. Like I've never seen somebody pull off an 8 split dodge, an 8-step split dodge. So I've come calling it the dance revolution. I know Deemer Class is getting in on it on Twitter too, mad at people. But I guess I'll just start. Do you do a lot of these drills, guys, with all the cones, or do you do it smaller?
No, honestly, I was thinking about it like when I do utilize cones. A lot of times it's like a starting point for a drill and like boundaries, really. Sometimes you want to keep attacking below a certain point, but I just feel like if you give kids something that they need to work around, it shouldn't be a cone that they have to like look down for. We use like kind of like a body bag, blocking dummy, more to like cut off of, or, use as like I kind of said, like a point of reference on a field. But yeah, like Marty said it, like cones don't hit back. They never seem to be, like defenders don't just stand in one place. And it makes me, kind of wonder, are these kids surprised when they try one of these footwork techniques on a lacrosse game that they don't work? Because I see kids dodging in a 3 or 4 yard, bubble. Like you can't get your hands free doing that, So, and a lot of these like variations, they end up like kind of crossing over where somebody would be trying to clear out for you, So I just think like these drills are built for like, if you have all the time in the world to dodge, which, not many guys have the juice on their offense to where everybody's like, no, you keep the ball, you dodge at that guy. And then, we'll let you do whatever you need to do. That's not great lacrosse.
No. And Marty, I know you have said you do use these drills or a variation of them. When you do it, is it a couple cones? And Corey, you just mentioned just cones. So sometimes we use agility poles, the big vertical one helps.
Yeah.
Do you do the multiple dodges, Marty?
No, we use cones for placement on the field, because we don't play on a football field. So it's wide open spaces. So we like to use the cones as kind of starting points, for our guys during their shooting drills. Sometimes they will split off a cone and then make a decision. I think that's something that is that we like to teach here, is like that decision when we attack a gap is something we like to say. We attack that space. We're not dodging our man. We're attacking space. So when we attack that gap, we have 2 rules. We either pass it or we shoot it. So there's no dancing with the ball. And where some of these drills kind of develop some bad habits with some guys is like, we don't necessarily need a redodge every time, or we don't need you to slip and then shake and then give a spin move, and now you're into a double team. Like it's all about ball movement, and I think the game's getting back to that a lot. I think we're getting back to like that swing the rock, get the assist type of offense. But we use them as markers. We will split off them. We'll hitch them. But we're not like, we're not dancing around on cones.
Not setting up 20 dodges.
No.
I just feel like when you put that many cones on at a kid's feet, that immediately becomes their focus in a drill, as opposed to like getting a good shot for what like your offense, Marty, right? Like what do we deem as a great shot for us? And, these kids come out of these splits and their heads are still down and they're throwing their split at the end and they're at 8 yards. Like I would love if I could, dial that up every time, get a kid coming out of his split with his hands free for 8 yards. Like that's just where my frustration with some of these videos is, like the focus. What is the focus? Is it getting better footwork, or is it, dodging? Because I don't see a lot of guys dodging like that in a live scenario. And the shot almost seems like secondary to me a lot of times in some of these, what I've seen,
Those are good points. And I actually have tried to do these videos. Like sometimes I remember when I was at Fresno State, we couldn't dodge. So I tried, and it almost was like their they're just trying 5 things, and then you're coaching that they're messing up your pattern all the time. You're not coaching, like you guys have mentioned, real lacrosse skills. You're not coaching keeping your stick protected, getting your head up. Marty, as you were talking, I'm kind of laughing because those guys shake their heads so much. I wonder if the helmet hurts on the spin, and we don't need that. But Corey, you've mentioned that a bunch, and Marty, you just talked about the passing. So I'm wondering, as I was wondering what to talk to you guys about today, is there a way we can combine these drills with better stick protection and passing? Like you just mentioned, the game's getting more back to passing. So Corey, what kind of drills are you setting up for your group when you do small-sided stuff to get, you mentioned you use the field more than cones. What moves on the field are you using?
Yeah, so we're lucky. We have kind of like a two-tone grass, or not grass, but turf field. So we really use like the color change, we call it, where the greens change. That's 10 yards. And like if you can get, at 10 to 10 yards or, 12 yards, you start working towards that color change. Like that's a hard zone. That's where you're either going to draw a slide or you should be shooting the rock, especially at the Division I level. So we kind of base it all off that, it's we try to keep it kind of simple. And my biggest thing is, when when you only have one field to practice on and you've only got a certain amount of time with your guys a day, like we never have enough time with our kids, right? Like, especially right now. But my focus is literally getting as much built into one rep as I possibly can. So dodging to, popping away to throwing a pull pass to then really attacking right away. So I try to involve as many guys as possible, and as many facets of like what you're talking about. And like a lot of times I'll be in the middle of a drill with we have like bop sticks, literally like getting on a guy's hands to really make sure they punch their hands. I feel like that's more effective than literally anything when it comes to stick protection and dodging. Like if I've got a 6-foot stick in my hand and my sole purpose is literally like to get on your hands, I don't have to worry about anything else as a, defender. That's going to make, put more pressure on kids and make sure that the guy behind the play that's, we got to swing the rock to, does his job, moves his feet without the ball.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, big thing for us is we like to start everything off a pass. So we seldomly are doing, just straight runners or just straight step downs in practice. Everything we do is based around a group of guys. So 4 to 6 players, maybe 8 players max on a cage, maximizing reps, going from a pass, like I said, a pass variation, off ball, on ball actions, 2-man slips, anything where we're hitting a cutter or we're making decisions to a cutter is big for us. I like to tell my guys, you get your, you kind of get your weekend reps, after practice, your runners on the run with your hands free and your step downs from 10, like that's your time. Like that's your time. Yeah, you should be going game speed, but that's your time, right? Like with us, we're developing our IQs every second. And like Coach said, like we don't have enough hours in the day with our guys. So we need to emphasize every single minute that we have together.
So you
mentioned- Sorry, that's also why I don't use a lot of cones. I don't have that much time to set up another crazy drill,
That's a great point, especially where let's talk pre-COVID, right? Because I know that kind of changed how we practice now. And that's kind of where the cone drills might, like more people might even want to try them right now because they got to use smaller groups. But I think we're all in agreement. You could find some better things to do. Like Marty, you just mentioned 4 or 5 in a cage. Do you guys ever have a big group shooting? Like, I guess let's start at Hartford. Does coach take the D and you take the O and you got 30 kids shooting on one goal ever anymore?
Yeah, if I ever have that big a group, we're lucky, we've got four guys at every practice coaching. So, and also lucky that if I ever need, like if Coach Martin can't be there to take like the middies or I take the attack or vice versa, we've got some great leaders on both sides of that attack and middies that have been around me long enough and been around Coach Martin long enough where they know how to run a shooting drill and make it worth our while if our back's turned. You know what I mean? So fortunate to have leaders like that. And that's kind of what I think we all kind of aspire to build into your program is guys you can trust to run a shooting drill. I think is a very easy thing to do, but you guys know that if it dips, if the production dips, it's going to be wasted reps, right? So
yeah, Marty, do you guys ever do big group shooting? And do you shoot every day?
We shoot every day in some variation, but we do multiple cages now. And then at the same time, we've even experimented with on game day, bringing 2 more cages out and having smaller groups go game day shooting. And then it's less time, more reps, harder reps, rather than just having, all 25, 30 guys, with short sticks out there, working on one cage, in the middle of the field, trying to split it up. Just, we're a big touches team. I'm a touch is kind of, I just want our guys to touch as much as they can in terms of the ball touches, passing, shooting, GBs, everything. So the more we can go smaller groups, more cages, maximize our tempo and our reps, we're way more effective that way.
Well, it was nice at Denver last year, having our own facility and a bunch of goals on it that never leave.
Yeah.
Doing that as well. And now when I'm on a goal with more than 5-10 people, I'm like, nobody's getting any reps. So I kind of prefer, what we started doing was playing 3-by just to get more reps after the 5-goal shooting like you guys do. Do you guys play any 3-by or speed lacrosse in your practices, or do you keep it all hardball when you're out there? Any tennis ball work?
So we've done the last 3 years here, just as a weekly thing. In the fall, we do, we call it mini series. So we let our guys draft, teams. We usually have 4 or 5 teams. It's 5-on-5, small, sectioned off. And we stack the whole thing. It's a league throughout the course of the fall. We can't do that right now, obviously, but it's obviously it's competition. It's smaller space. So you cut down the time you spend away from the ball, but also it really it really puts an emphasis on what you do without it still, so that's something that we've done. That's kind of usually what we'll do, in terms of that.
Yeah. The boys play, some box 3-by, 3-on-2, 3-on, 2-on-1 stuff on their own. We don't organize it as much. We used to a couple years ago. We just do a lot of short-sided drills, 4-on-4, 3-on-3. I think 4-on-4 is the best drill in lacrosse. You can teach everything through a 4-on-4 offensively and defensively. And, I think there's ways you can maximize, obviously the amount of time on one cage, but then you can split that, where you have, 6 guys to a cage and then 6 guys to another cage and 6 to another with 3 goalies. That's 18 guys out there, going 4-on-4. And now they're getting, the cardiovascular reps and everything else because there's not much rest time. And, a 7-8 series of that is pretty intense when you're maybe working on one action or another. Maybe it's every goal's got to come off a pick and roll. Every goal's got to come off an off-ball screen. Every goal's got to, there is no goalie. You got to hit the crossbar, and you got a bunch of balls there. So fun stuff like that. Try and shake it up.
Yeah, I like that. My dad's going to love hearing you talk about the 4-on-4. I think he saw Petro in the late 90s at the convention talk about it, and that's all we did in Penn Yan for about an hour every day.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah. That was Baldwinsville practices too, man. That was,
awesome.
Coach got to master that.
I mean, the Upstate's coming out. It had happened. So, all right, we're all from Upstate. Marty, you mentioned sharing the ball. We're talking about 4. Do you think we think of the game differently? I guess I want to hear from each one of you. What's your version of how an offense should work and how we've talked, you both shoot every day, but what you 4-on-4, but I want to hear you guys where Upstate influences how you coach offense and how it dictates your game plan and your practice plan.
Yeah, I think for me, it's creativity, growing up in Syracuse and playing at a city school where, it's Corcoran High School. We had to practice on parking lots. You guys probably did too. You had to be creative in what you did and just creativity and watching those Syracuse teams in the 90s, how they moved the ball up the field and how, no one really held the ball too long. And there was just a lot of fun juices flowing up there during that time period. And I think sharing the ball was the key, just coming home and hearing, my dad and my grandfather talking about good ball movement, and it was the same thing watching Q's hoops, ball movement, passing, cutting, getting the assist. The assist is a beautiful thing, man. And in lacrosse, I think it's one of those parts of the game where, you see it now in the PLL big time. that cut, that assist, that feed looks great, you know, and kids are starting to see it. I know coaches are excited about it, and it's kind of coming back now. It's not so much, hey, I'm a 30 goal guy, 30-2. It's like, all right, well, let's be a 15-17 guy. You know, let's see what we can do within the offense and share the rock. So I think the biggest thing for me is creativity and growing up in that area. Like, I know I didn't have individual lacrosse coaches and private lessons growing up. Like, I had a hockey stick, then a lacrosse stick, and then that was a football. So, like, you know, it was just, you just played sports. And in that era, I think that's where the creativity came into play in lacrosse, for me at least.
And that's why you like the 4-on-4 and not the cone drills, right? The cone drills, the cone drills are, and Corey, your point about alley shots, actually at our, I remember when it was cool to hit an alley stinger down the run for a little bit, and like everybody's shaking their head. It's hilarious. Like, Placid now, Combro Chill played with us 2 summers ago, and I don't know if you guys remember him. He's actually a pretty cool guy. He's a good player.
Oh, he's awesome.
Yeah, he's a good player too, but everybody on the team, Sean Wilkie, I mean, it's all Pete Millam, it's all Upstate guys on our team, and they're literally yelling at him like, you're not allowed to shoot an alley dot shot. And he could not. I still tweeted to him, he's like, what do you mean? We're like, we only run to the alley to get the ball to X so they can feed it. And, we call that the triangle play here, the triangle look. But yeah, so I think that's probably why we're all anti-cone. Corey, I don't know. That's a tough one to beat what Marty just soliloquied. We call the show Laxin Poetic. Marty, that you just soundbite there, that's going to be going out. But Corey,
no, I'll do my best. I'm along the same lines. I think like what Marty said is we all had the luxury of growing up with not only Syracuse, but when in the spring, like, is there another sport that we talk about more in Syracuse? Like, you grew up and they were on the front page of the sports section every day, which is like, you get outside of the bubble that is Syracuse and it's just not that way. You got to be doing something huge for that to be the case, So I just think, like, I was fortunate to play for some guys, coaches that really understood what the game meant to the area. And then also, obviously Marty, even better than me, but like what it meant to, the native people in our area, what the game does for that population. And, obviously we didn't steal that from them, but we understood the importance of the game, where it really came from. And just like, there aren't many places like that. I would say, and that kind of lends itself to the creativity piece. But, and the other piece of it too is, like, I didn't grow up thinking about doing anything other than playing lacrosse in college. Like, there's some areas where I think kids play lacrosse, like, this is awesome. And like, would you play lacrosse in college? Yeah, I would definitely do that. Okay, what about going up to the Northeast? Oh, no, I'm not doing that. It wasn't a thought in my mind. Like, would I have gone to Florida? Absolutely. Yeah, that would have been cool. But like, I didn't look at schools because of the schools. Maybe that's more not so great, but like, I looked at it when I was getting recruited. I'm like, yeah, this is a great opportunity school wise for me. But I just think, like, it's kind of more hardwired into kids. Like, this is what you do. Like, my dad played in college, played at Hobart right down the road. So it's like, one of those things I just like, all my friends were all, there wasn't a question of like, oh, are you going to play lacrosse in college? Like, yeah, I'm just going to play wherever, as good a ball as I can. Yeah.
What year did your dad graduate Hobart?
82.
Oh, okay. Year I was born. All right. Was Coach Eric his guy in 82?
Yep. So he was a football player, did not like playing college football. It was a grind. And, Coach Eric was famous for sitting outside spring football practices before lacrosse
and getting athletes.
Yeah. And so he put a bullet in my dad's hand. So.
Yep.
So I mentioned Coach Eric a little bit earlier. Like, he hated shooting drills, and the longer I go, I mean, we practiced 3 hours. They're great practices, like no stop time, like flow drills, 3-on-2, like 4-on-4, like stuff we've been talking about. And now as I keep coaching offense for a while, I understand why he doesn't like shooting drills. I also understand why we need to do them every day. But Marty, you just hit on passing. Did you have a passing drill other than like line drills to help these cats figure out how to be a better passer? Like, I mean, I know we're all searching for it. And I mean, do you coach the two-man? You don't have to give away too many secrets, because I know both.
No, I'll give away all the sauce. It's all good. I take a lot from hockey. lot of their touch passing drills off the boards and
Down.
corners. Yeah, we do some variations of things. I like the diamond spoke drill. I think that's a great drill. You can add a lot of variations to that. Line drills are great. That's the only day we do line drills is on game day. And the only reason we do it is because I want my guys super comfortable on game day. I want them just doing something that they grew up doing and they just know how to do it. Kind of a mindless thing, right? And then we also run a lot of conditioning within our stick work. Like we'll go 5-man passing, which is box to box, 3 guys on one side of the box, 2 on the other, and it's all hard ball as fast as you can go. Strong hand, then offhand. We don't go right and left hand. We go strong hand, offhand, and then we go from there. Everything is from a GB pickup to a pass. So we drop it at our feet, full speed scoop, and then we move it. So we like to do 2-man passing. I'm not in love with like dummy 2-mans. Like I'm not in love with that scripted 2-man, dummy 2-man, like, you know, pick and roll, hit the slip, like then the guy's like fading behind the cage and like finishing to the far pipe. Like I'm like, dude, you're gonna get blown up with a slide, and it's, in a game, it's not gonna happen. So we try and take that out, and we just rep that sometimes without the ball, or we just rep it where they don't get the pass off the pick and roll, and the guy coming over the top of the pick continues his shot on the run to the middle, and that guy just kind of finishes his action, his roll action towards the pipe. So a lot of our stuff is based on touches, like I said. We like to maximize the touches and get as much as we can. But circling back to the hockey side, you can find some good videos on hockey passing stick work, and you can, if you're creative and understand footwork and what you want to do, you know, you can really emphasize that in a passing drill with your guys or your girls you're coaching, and emphasize that hand position, the foot position, you know, pivoting, wrist action, all that stuff that comes into play, I think, for you to have a great stick at the high levels.
Yeah, we do a lot of the same stuff. Like just to get touches a lot of times, like we use the spoke all the time. That's one of my favorites. We just do, you know, pull passing, literally like kind of like a one line facing one way. But the big thing for us is the communication piece of it too. You're talking to the dodger. You're kind of working in your, you know, we do play kind of a pairs offense. So you're talking to your pair. You're talking to your guy in your pair, and you're telling, hey, you're good. You can keep dodging. And it's like, well, I'm not pull passing. I'm not punching my hand until I hear my buddy behind me tell me it's time to go. Like you drew a slot, you know? So we make sure we do that. One of the big ones for us too is like, we call it perimeter stick work, and it's literally diamond passing. And it's, you know, catching with your outside hand, squaring your man, and either splitting or rolling away. So my big thing on the perimeter, especially, like if you don't want to get chased, you better look like you're ready to go to the rack. And like, so I teach my guys, square your man every single time. So like, and you know, I feel like most times if we're getting chased around, you know, we have a defensive coordinator, and we got some really good pulls that, you know, every once in a while they'll get a little frisky. And if our guys are being lazy on the perimeter and sixes, you know, like we'll go back, look at the film, and we'll be like, well, who squared their man? Didn't square. And the third, you know, our best defenseman pressed out into the alley, and you know, because he didn't have to worry about helping in. You know, he just literally is like, all right, they're just spinning the ball right to here, so I'm going to go get there. So my biggest thing is like, it's more making sure our feet are moving, making sure the talk's there, and making sure we're doing like the little things, like the square is the big one for me.
Yeah, spacing too, right? Spacing.
Yep.
I think that's something as well. Like I'm, you know, big fan of the spacing, especially when you're talking about that perimeter passing, and even just teaching kids to keep that stick to the outside. I mean, you know, how many times did you guys grow up playing keep the stick to the left side, catch the left, roll right, throw right? You know, like just knowing how to do that effectively is important. You know?
Well, that takes us back to our original point. Why are you dancing 20 cones when literally I'll be at practice tomorrow, and I'll be like, the other outside, stick to the other outside of the field. You're like, yes. Tell us, Marty, I love the line drill point, because a couple years ago, just maybe 10 years ago, I got in vogue to be like, no line drills ever. Like, I'm like, whoa, I love line drills. I know in the MLS, it's the first thing you do. Like, it's like, and I get, we don't do it every day either. We do it, but we do it. And I still think there's value in the line drill. Corey, do you guys do the line drill?
Literally, just like Marty said, game day.
Game day. I love that. I love that philosophy too. We do
just
it.
Like let the dude, let him roll on game day. They're comfortable.
Yeah.
Just let them do line drills, man. Like righty outside.
Yeah.
The ready out. Well, actually, my kids don't know that. Well, they know it now, but yeah, that's one I have to teach. Like, I'm like, how's that shoulder? Here we go. That's pretty funny. All right. Well, how is things gonna, like, most of us we don't have to get into each school's details, but a lot of us now are probably going to practice in pods when we're doing that. Has that made you guys maybe think about using these cone drills more? I know none of us are going to pay for a subscription. You'd be shocked, guys, how many people bought these things for $350.
Now I need to know, is that a real thing?
It is. The tweet I put out, I think it might be $250, but it's high. It's like a 1 year.
No, so it's a real thing to get actual cone drills to do.
Yeah. And so what you do is they'll send you like free ones. And then like, if you pay the money, then they send you all the other ones and they tell you.
Okay. So this is an actual thing that's happening in our game.
And I know people that have paid real good, like, cause I was shocked. They're like really good, like guys like you and me and us, like, I'm like, wait, you know how to do this? You really bought this? And like, well, I just, I think it's the color of the cones kind of got them.
But this is what I want to get into with like other sports, right? Like I know Corey, you're a dad now, and we're, down the road, right? Like my son is 3, right? And like, he's a baseball guy. Like I understand a value in paying for a swing school.
Yeah.
Like the mechanic of swinging the baseball bat, right?
Yeah.
I don't know about paying for my kid to run around cones and shoot on a lacrosse net, if that's something that's going to ever happen in the world. And
let me ask you,
because I'm a lacrosse coach, that's just in general.
I agree with that completely. I think we all agree with that. Let me ask you this though. I'm of the opinion that everybody's shot is different, right?
Yeah.
Zach Miller can shoot low to high, right? Ian McKay could shoot low to high. I had guys at the Hill Academy, they could shoot low to high on the run. I've never seen it before. So I'm like, oh yeah, if you can do it, you can do it. So do you guys want to agree with that philosophy that everybody's kind of mechanics are different in lacrosse? And then 2, how would you pay for a shot coach, right? Would do that?
I think, no, I would not pay for one, but like, I also have the understanding too. And like, I've been really fortunate to learn from, a dude that he teaches shooting better than most, Coach Van Arsdale. Like, if you look back, but he's also not hard and fast on everything, and it's a case by case basis. And I've taken that, like, it's tough. Like when you got a guy that's special that can, shoot it a certain way, like, you might have to take some good with the bad there, but like also making sure that everybody else around him says like, all right, well, maybe guys, Marty shoots low to high, but Marty's also shot that way on his own, away from practice. And I haven't seen his shot just get caught and thrown upfield for a fast break very often. Now, I don't care who shoots.
Well, you've never seen me warm up a goalie then.
No, but like, I think everybody's different. Like, and there's certain guys I talk, I like to joke with our guys, like, some guys get their license to shoot sidearm, shoot 3/4, whatever it is. Like,
that's a good way to put it. That's a good,
and like, some guys, like, they never pass your driver's test. And
I think you gotta treat shooters like you treat a good goalie or a good face-off guy, or any good shooter should be treated the same way you treat other positions. Like a good defenseman, you're not going to tell a good takeaway defenseman he can't throw his check. Yeah. You're not going to tell a good, reteach a good goalie a technique, right? Like face-off guys, right? Like you're not going to do that. So I like what you said, Bryce, about like, some of these influences, and it comes from Canada and it comes from the box and the native culture and playing all the time and the creativity and, like let those guys go. Like if he's going to shoot it behind the back, and he thinks he can hit it and he hits it or he doesn't hit it, like let these guys see it, feel it, fail at it. And then they understand, all right, well, I got to be more consistent next time, and that word kind of circles back around, right? Consistency. Like if you're consistently getting stuff shooting your overhand bounce shot on the run, you probably shouldn't shoot the ball anymore.
Yeah.
Like, like,
and there's like, you got to be coachable too in the sense that like you said, like if you're going to shoot your shot, like just to feel good, but it's not working. Like I've seen Coach Van Arsdale doesn't raise his voice ever. And he looks at James Pinnell, who if James Pinnell is like, if he's feeling it, like he would score 7 goals in a game. Like it's, you go back and look, and he has all the releases, and but there will be times where he's taking shots that aren't great shots because of his release and his mechanics than anything. And he would just see Coach Van Arsdale from the sidelines, not yanking him off the field. He goes, James, the next one has to be overhand, and it's got to hit the cage. And James Pinnell goes, got it. And then it's just like, I think it's more magic by Coach Van Arsdale. It's like that one goes in almost all the time.
Yeah, it clicks.
But it's also a great shooter, so.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, that's a great point. I mean, I love hearing Mark Van Arsdale stories. I listen all day. But all right, you got one. We got a couple minutes left. You got one. Actually, Zoom just gave us a free gift. We can go a little bit longer, but I didn't know that was a thing. You got. I like playing this game now with my friends when I just call them on the phone. I'm like, "What's your game winner?" And I know Zoom's got whiteboard, but we don't need to do a breakout room. We can just like, hey, Marty, you got me in the huddle, and you can use me and Corey if you want. You can say like, let's set Bryce up for the game winner. I don't know, but like, what are you going with?
Well, what hand were you, Bryce?
What's that?
What hand were you?
Oh, I'm all right.
Okay, so I'm setting Bryce down in the low pipe, right? And we're open 3-3 motion look all game. So we play sides, open 3-3. We do 3. Hard. If I can do strength 3 lefties, 3 righties, that's what we work. If not, it's a 2 and 4.
But you've got at least 2 lefts.
What's that?
You got at least 2 lefties on your roster.
Yeah, always. And if we don't, we run a completely different set. If we only have lefty. So what we do is run that 2-man action with our lefties, put the ball in one of our feeders' hands, let them run that 2-man action with the lefty, and then what we send is a slice cut from the top adjacent midfielder, the top righty on that 3-man on the side.
Yep.
That's a screen for you on that low right pipe for you to come off of. And really, Bryce, I'm sorry, but you're the decoy.
You're throwing back to the figure.
We're rolling the pick. We're rolling, and he's opening up. Because if they slide off that man to the lefty, we're hitting that skip right to that right pipe off the guy who set that screen for you, and it's a slam dunk on the back left or the back right pipe.
Hey, I'm a team player, coach. Like, as long as we score the game winner, I'm pumped. I'm happy. Yeah.
Don't worry, you'll be in the dog pile. We'll be good.
Corey, what do you got? I lost Corey.
Sorry. I got it queued up if you want to let me just walk you through it.
Sure.
Can I share my screen?
I got to probably give you the
This is great. See, look at you, Corey.
I got to give you I think I got to give you access somehow.
Yeah, so it's on our Instagram too, so it ain't secret, so let's see. You know how to do that?
I just hit it. You should be good.
Yeah, here we go.
Share it up.
Have you won a game with this actually?
It's our short time play.
Okay.
Or it was last year. So can you guys see that well enough?
Yeah, I can see it.
So this is he's a junior now. He's been a starting midfielder for us since his freshman year, kid from Cleveland, Ohio. And when you talk about, really understanding the game and just having a great IQ and great stick protection. And he's a dodger. Like, he's got some fancy footwork, but that's just kind of his game. So we let him roll with it, but he's a big time initiator for us. Kid named Andrew Boniface. All right. So we like to run like a deuces set, and we let this kid basically pull the ball out to wherever he likes, throughout the course of the game. But this is, we called it Hornet this year. So he kind of, pulls his man out towards the wing line. We've got his pair, sitting right here to be just kind of that mirror whichever way Andrew goes. This is a very interesting technique, defending it, but we're going to let Andrew try to get over the top. And we've just got a seal on the backside for our lefty Canadian shooter who can hammer the ball, kind of curling over a seal. All right. And if they come off this pair off, kind of the crease, Andrew is a smart enough kid to get the ball where it needs to go. we have like kind of our throw ahead look to our Canadian here. And really our mirror out wasn't doing a great job. He's a little flat, but even they're open. They were kind of all standing watching here, but Andrew's a great dodger in the sense that he knows that, he dodges till he draws a double. But that's something that, we just try to like have a little seal on the backside. We don't get enough of that. I don't feel like in a lot of college lacrosse anymore, like kind of the picking off ball. So
yeah, the off ball screens. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you guys name all your plays? Do you name, like, I have a hard time running offense without naming almost everything. I mean, we let them free play out of, usually what we do is like, this is where you're starting from. This is who we want to start it. And then everything else is free flow. But
let me share my screen real quick. I got the
queued up, man. I didn't bring a highlight.
Here we go. Can you guys see that?
Yep.
So this is coming out of the timeout in overtime a couple years ago. And this is the lefty action on the one side. Watch the back side.
Yep.
No one slides right down the gut. Bang.
Kind of similar.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we're golden and we're off to the races, baby.
I'm in the dog pile somewhere. You can't see me, but I'm in there. Who did you just beat with that one?
Westminster out of Utah. They came into our place and they played us real tough. And we had to scrape and claw to get that win. So just trying to, how do I end this screen share?
Top, like,
I got to stop. Yeah, it says stop share. Upstate, baby.
Bryce, to your question, we don't like have like a ton of plays, but we do have like starters, in our deuces set. So like after our starting dodge, we really just kind of play. So we don't like to script a whole lot, but we do have kind of names for like where we like to initiate from, really. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that what you guys normally, I mean, I just assume everybody from Upstate's similar, but normally like this is what we're trying to do. And then you let them have some freedom. And I think that's again, why we're so anti-phone revolution, because we're just like, you're not allowing any creativity, any what makes the game great, right? Any spontaneity.
Yeah.
And I think, I think to some extent everybody's teaching it too, but like, I think you said it too, Bryce, where like you've got 6 guys on the field, they all can do something a little bit different. You don't want to make them all the same. But you all want like every other guy on the field to understand like, yeah, Marty loves to get to his left. I better get out of his way, and I better know that he can pull the ball to me. I'd be ready for that. So,
yeah.
But yeah, just teaching more patterns in terms of like, based on our personnel.
I think teaching decisions, right?
Yeah.
Teaching decisions. And that's like decision makers. How do we become better coaches at teaching decision making? And you only do that if you're working with other players on the field. You can't do it by just dodging 20 cones and splitting with your stick behind your back and then spinning off the hurdle and then shooting on the run off your back foot. Like you're not teaching decisions. You're literally just dancing out there. Yeah. Just dancing.
No doubt about it. And I think we'll throw out there that, hey, we're all supportive of everybody trying to grow the game and do more with the game. But we're just, as all college coaches here that put a lot of time and effort in these things, like we just don't want to see people fall down the rabbit hole, I think, right? Like just do this.
Yeah.
Goal. Yeah. Marty, you were talking earlier about lifting weights, doing other things. Like we all can agree that's more important.
Yeah, for sure.
And I just think part of that too is, who has to break the bad habits when they get to college? It ain't the guy they were paying $250 an hour for, like I've got to talk to you about why, dropping your hands, getting to the middle of the field might not be the best way for us to score a goal in college. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Those coaches that we're talking about that set up all these pretty cone drills, like they're not teaching, a whole offense how to score a goal. They're teaching one guy how to, like Marty said, dance around them.
And that's the model, right? Like, so it's okay for them. They're doing that, and there is a market for that, right? And getting back to that before when we're on a FaceTime, like there's variations and levels of these cone drills that guys should be doing. Like certain type of cone drill you should be doing with a 10 to 12-year-old. There's a certain type of cone drill you should be doing to a 14, 13-year-old player. And then it's like the pros, like they should be doing elevated everything.
Sure.
Like elevated everything cone drill wise. And they should be the same drill that one of the pros is doing. like just say like, you know, anybody in the PLL or anybody in the MLL playing pro NLL, what they're doing footwork wise into a shot, like that shouldn't be taught to an 11-year-old kid, in my opinion.
And they weren't doing it when they were 11. That's my biggest thing with it. I'm like, they're acting like this guy made it pro because he did this. It's like, no.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a whole different level of training when you get to that level.
Yeah.
And I can appreciate these PLL guys. Like their job is to be the best lacrosse player they can be. They're pushing themselves, like you're saying, like to a new level. They're trying to find that edge. And, you know, I think there's something to be said for that. And I don't fault the guy for experimenting, because, you know, if people didn't do that, we wouldn't be anywhere right now. So,
Yeah.
you know,
Sure.
but I think we can go too far.
I think we need to get on here again and maybe just share screens the whole time and go through some other stuff. But I appreciate you guys taking the time and coming on the show tonight. Any final thoughts, maybe where we're headed, what's going on, anything you want to share with some of our viewers, you're more than welcome.
We're just keeping our fingers crossed, man. We're lucky. We've, you know, everybody's pretty healthy up here in Connecticut. So I think, you know, we're keeping our fingers crossed that something happens here and we can all get back to doing what we want to do.
Florida's wide open, but we're being safe and doing what we can. Just keep the faith and have fun and smile a little bit. There's light at the end of the tunnel. We just got to push through.
No doubt.
That's great advice. Thanks a lot, guys. And this was a lot of fun, and I'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, boys.
Thanks.
Good boys.